Art 2 echoes in wood. The garage smelled of loam and the dust of unspooled futures. Not the sharp bite of mildew, but a scent that clung to the back of the throat. Old blueprints rolled so tightly they threatened to fracture. The ghost of angles never quite resolved. Leo claimed it first, entering as one enters a familiar grief, retreating into its shadowed coolness with a practiced slump of shoulders. Arthur followed, obligated to share the burden of family time, ostensibly to help organize, but mostly to observe Leo's absorption into the digital world. He felt like an anthropologist studying a particularly elusive tribe, one whose language he hadn't yet learned. The bangs continued, rhythmic punctuation in the silence, not violent crashes, but deliberate knocks, as if something within the garage was testing the wood's tensile strength, probing for a give. Each resonance settled deep in Arthur's chest, a dull thrumming that mirrored the low simmering anxiety regarding his tenure review. He'd chosen philosophy for its freedom, a spaciousness for thought, only to discover himself boxed in by committees and publications. His idealism now feeling constricting as a well-worn collar. Leo, immersed in his VR headset, barely registered the sounds. His avatar, a sleek chrome warrior, cleaved through digital landscapes while his physical body slumped against a stack of dusty holiday decorations. "It's immersive," he mumbled when Arthur tentatively asked about his game. "Like really immersive?" Arthur watched his son's face flicker with reflected light. A strange detachment settled over him. Was Leo truly present anywhere? Or was he dissolving into a series of algorithms and curated experiences, seeking refuge from something Arthur couldn't quite name? The garage became a microcosm of their family, each member occupying their own separate sphere, barely brushing against one another like planets in distant orbits. Eleanor, meanwhile, seemed to be shrinking inward. She moved through the house with a quiet efficiency that masked an escalating unease. Arthur had caught her staring out at the lake earlier, her expression not one of peaceful contemplation, but burdened calculation, assessing distances, measuring opportunity costs. She'd chosen ambition, partner at the firm, six-figure salary, over what she sometimes called the messiness of motherhood. Now, watching Clara meticulously paint watercolor wildflowers on the porch, their petals almost painfully vibrant, he wondered if that messiness wasn't precisely what she craved, a counterpoint to all the carefully constructed order she demanded of her life. He found her in the kitchen later, pouring herself a third cup of coffee, steam rising like unanswered questions. "How's Leo?" she asked, her voice crisp and practical as chipped porcelain. "Lost?" Arthur replied softly. "Lost in another world." Eleanor sighed, stirring her coffee with unnecessary force. "Someone has to provide that world for him." A subtle barb, a precision strike disguised as casual inquiry. Arthur knew she felt he hadn't fully supported her career choices, that he'd secretly preferred a more traditional arrangement, a wife who smelled faintly of flour and crayons instead of legal briefs and expensive perfume. He wanted to argue, to explain his own anxieties about impending academic judgment, but the words felt flimsy against her quiet determination, brittle things easily broken by her gaze. Later that afternoon, attempting to sort through a box of old tools in the garage, a task Leo had abandoned after 5 minutes. Arthur discovered another gesture card tucked beneath a chipped enamel toolbox. This one depicted a jester juggling 3 brightly colored balls, each representing indecision itself. His painted mouth twisted into an almost sorrowful grimace. It wasn't randomly placed. It had been deliberately positioned face up, as if waiting for him to find it. An invitation to a silent mockery. The casual randomness of the first card felt gone. This felt like an observation leveled directly at him. A prickle ran down his spine as he held it, suddenly feeling less like an observer and more like an observed specimen. Clara found one too, wedged between the pages of Grandma Vivian's well-worn copy of Grimm's fairy tales. This gesture pointed directly at the reader with a slightly mocking gesture, his eyes glittering with ancient amusement. Grandma Vivian merely chuckled when Clara showed it to her. "The land remembers," she said cryptically, stirring her tea with a silver spoon. "Loggers made deals with it, you know? Offered silver coins and ribbons for safe passage through these woods. Mocked its stillness at their peril." She remembered Old Man Hemlock losing half his timber after scoffing at the wood's demands. Arthur dismissed it as local color, the charming eccentricities of small-town life. But as dusk settled over the lake and another series of insistent bangs echoed from within the garage, louder now, closer, he couldn't shake off the feeling that something more than settling wood was testing its boundaries. Something was watching them back, assessing their worth. The air grew thick with anticipation, a sense that whatever lay beyond those wooden walls wasn't merely present but expectant. A tremor ran through the floorboards and Leo's avatar unleashed a particularly ferocious attack in VR. It wasn't just sound reverberating through wood anymore, but vibration. He walked towards the source of sounds and noticed dust motes dancing in shafts of fading light, revealing slight cracks appearing across paneling, as if something pushed from within. The jester card warmed in his palm. It wasn't just observing him anymore. It seemed to know what was coming.